Good afternoon, students. In last class, we have discussed about the elasticity of demand. So, basically, what is the elasticity of demand? We have already discussed in our last class. Elasticity of demand means change in demand on respect of change in price or any other factors which are responsible for change in demand. So, basically, we have three types of elasticity of demand. One is price elasticity of demand, and income elasticity of demand, and third is cross elasticity of demand. In last class, we have already discussed about price elasticity. So in today's class, we are going to discuss about income elasticity and cross elasticity. So let's start with the income elasticity. So price elasticity we have already discussed. Let's move to the income elasticity. Yes. So this is kind very similar to the price elasticity. The only change is here is the factors. In price elasticity of demand, we have discussed the meaning that change in demand on account of change in price. When you replace the factor price with the income, that is called income elasticity of demand. Means income elasticity of demand measure the responsiveness. Responsiveness means change in quantity demanded with respect to change in income. So the changes here is income. We replace the price word with the income. So definition wise, both the same, price elasticity and income elasticity. If we replace the word, if we put the factor price, then it is called price elasticity one. And if we replace the price with income, it becomes the income elasticity one. And the formula is also same. Formula is income elasticity of demand is percentage change in quantity demanded with respect to percentage change in income. So the change is income. The formula is also same. So in price elasticity of demand, we have discussed the 5 degrees of elasticity. That is 0, less than 1, equals to 1, more than 1, and infinity. In income elasticity of demand, we have 3 degrees. One is positive income elasticity, second is negative income elasticity, and third is zero income elasticity of demand. So we have 3 degrees of income elasticity of demand. We have gone through one by one. First is positive income elasticity. So positive income elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand is positive when increase in income of a consumer and demand for goods also increases, and with a decrease in income of consumer his demand for the goods also decreases. That is, there is a direct relationship between income of consumer and quantity demanded, and the same is happen in case of normal goods. So we can conclude that income elasticity of demand is positive in case of normal goods. As the same we can see in our diagram, when income rises from B to A, then quantity demanded also increases from OQ to OQ1. So the income demand curve is upward sloping because there is a direct relationship between income and demand for normal goods. Second is negative income elasticity of demand. So income elasticity of demand is negative in case of inferior goods. In case of inferior goods, we are very well aware about that. If there's an increase in income of consumer, then the demand for inferior goods decreases, and with a decrease in income of consumer the demand for inferior goods increases. So there is a inverse relationship between income and demand for inferior goods. So the income demand curve is also downward sloping as there is a inverse relationship. As we can see in our diagram, when income increases from 10 to 30, then quantity demanded of inferior goods decreases from 3 to 2 units. So the income demand curve is downward sloping. And the third category is zero income elasticity of demand. Income elasticity of demand is zero when change in income of consumer evokes no change in his demand. Basically, when we have seen that there is no change in quantity demanded on a change in income of consumer, there are such kind of goods like basic food, oil, salt has zero income elasticity because uh, change in income of consumer evokes no change in demand for such goods. So we can also see in our diagram when income of consumer increases from 10 to 20, then the demand for such goods remains unaffected, means remains same. So the income elasticity of demand is zero when there is no change in demand. So we can conclude that income elasticity of demand has three degrees, that is positive, negative, and zero. Positive income elasticity in case of normal goods, negative income elasticity in case of inferior goods, and zero income elasticity in case of essential goods or necessities goods. Okay, let's move further. Now we have cross elasticity of demand. Cross elasticity of demand measure the responsiveness to change in quantity demanded for good X with respect to change in price of good Y. So when we take the price of other good and the demand for other goods, that is the case of cross elasticity. So the formula is percentage change in quantity demanded for good X and divide by percentage change in price of good Y. So the difference between normal price elasticity and cross elasticity is goods. In price elasticity, we take the price and demand for the same goods. Price of X good and demand for X good. But in case of cross elasticity, we take the price of Y and the effect of that change in price on another goods, that is good X. So there are two goods involved, good X and good Y. So that's why it is called cross elasticity. Now let's move further. We have three degrees of cross elasticity like income elasticity, positive cross elasticity, negative cross elasticity, and zero cross elasticity. First, positive cross elasticity of demand. When goods are substitute for each other, when two goods are substitute to each other, then a given percentage rise in the price of good will lead to given percentage increase in the demand for other goods. In other words, we can say cross elasticity of demand is positive in case of substitute goods because there is a direct relationship between price and demand of its substitute goods. In our diagram, we can see that when price of a y increases from py1 to py2, then quantity demanded increases from OQ1 to OQ2. So the demand curve is upward sloping as there is a direct relationship between price and demand of its substitute goods. So the cross elastic demand is also positive. Next is negative cross elastic demand. Cross elasticity of demand is negative in case of complementary goods because in case of complementary goods there is an inverse relationship between price and demand of its complementary goods. Percentage rise in the price of one goods leads to percentage fall in the demand for other goods. We can see the same thing in the diagram when price of a y decreases from py1 to py2, then quantity demanded increases from OQ1 to OQ2. So the demand curve is downward sloping as there is a inverse relationship between price and demand of its complementary goods. And the last case is zero cross elasticity. Cross elasticity of demand is zero when two goods are not related to each other. For example, rise in the price of wheat will have no effect on the demand for shoes because shoes and wheat are not related to each other. So their cross elasticity of demand will be zero. We can see the same thing in diagram when price of Y goods increases from P1 to P2 or P3, then the quantity demanded of the other goods will remain unaffected. So the cross elastic demand is zero. So we can conclude cross elasticity has three degree: positive cross elasticity, negative, and zero. Positive cross elasticity in case of substitute goods, negative cross elasticity in case of complementary goods, and zero cross elasticity demand when two goods are not related to each other. So that's it for the day. Thank you.